Alright, what's going on, dudes, and welcome to Need for Speed Rivals. Yet again, some footage I got to capture from a yet-to-be-released title while I was at E3. This one, I believe, is supposed to launch right around the same time as the Xbox One in November, so still a ways out, and keep that in mind when you're watching the footage, as I believe it's still pre-alpha. That said, however, it was still fun, despite the fact that I started off a little rocky, but as the round progressed, I started to slowly sort of get the hang of things and improve on the mechanics and sort of figure out what I was aiming to accomplish. It's been a while, actually, since I've played racing games. I used to play them a ton back in high school on my Xbox 360, because I actually didn't have multiplayer connectivity until like my sophomore year. I never played multiplayer games before that, so racing games were kind of a go-to because I figured you could have as much fun in single player with the AI as you could against people in multiplayer, because when I finally did play racing games against people in multiplayer, I kind of stopped because they destroy you. So obviously Need for Speed is a little bit different, though. It's not just sort of like your standard racing against other people on a set course. You're basically in this game. I believe it's the first Need for Speed where you're able to play as the cops. Previously, it would sort of be like a race mode where you and your either AI or your friends would be racing each other, and then you'd have to obviously evade the cops when you got chased, so on and so forth. But this time you can actually play as the cops, so you can do a versus mode. Here it was there were 12 computers set up, I believe, and we were playing sort of 3v3 on each side of the room. So I was one of the cops in this. Obviously, I'm racing in my Koenigsegg Agera R, which is a beautiful car that I would love to have, albeit perhaps a little bit impractical because I'm sure I'd scrape the underside if I ever went into a driveway. But that can't stop me from dreaming. Yeah, anyway, so as far as I could tell, in the beginning it was a little bit confusing because you have to pull into one of these sort of race starting points in order to initiate a race as a racer, though. I don't think it's the same as a cop. I think with the cops, you have to find a racer who has initiated one of these races, and then in order to initiate a pursuit, you basically crash into them. Now, there are like different kinds of crashing. As far as I could tell, you can actually straight up wreck them, where they have to respawn with a brand new vehicle, or basically just running into them, sort of, and they can keep going. Obviously, the cars in this game can take a lot of damage before they actually have to respawn. So anyway, finally I figured out that you actually, in order to initiate a pursuit, you have to run into one of the racers. So again, just for clarification, the racers here are in the red Ferrari F12s, and all the cops, I think, are in the Agera Rs, which is what I'm driving here, so that you can sort of pay attention to what's what. So anyway, I finally figured out that you have to actually run into one of those guys in order to initiate one of these pursuits, and then your radar in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen will basically turn that person into a red triangle, where before they were orange, and then you can sort of start pursuing them and earning points. And so you have the weapons that you can use as a cop. You can just deploy spike strips, you can use your EMP, and I guess when the game launches there will be like a whole long list of weapons that weren't actually available in the footage you're seeing here. But yeah, so you go on this chase and you try it. It seems like the easiest way to disable the cars in this is to actually shoot an EMP at them, because then it makes you couldn't see it on this one. I don't think I get EMP'd at all, but I was able to see what it was like while I was waiting to play the game, and basically it turns your screen all kind of staticky and you seem to lose control of your car. So you do that, then the car is disabled, and then your goal in order to end the pursuit and get a ton of points is just to basically ram them as hard as you possibly can, and then you win the chase. You also have a set of challenges on the side of the screen, if you can see that, and when you complete all those you get a whole bunch of points. It's actually why I got the most points as a cop in the round, I think, is because I might have been the only one to actually complete all the challenges listed on the side. Because when I started off this round, so the dude who was sort of in charge of the presentation, that he gave like a little 5-minute talk before we actually played, he was saying how he would give the person in last place a hard time, and so I was very sad when I was doing very poorly at the start. But sure enough, I was able to, you know, turn around because I am a racer extraordinaire. But all in all, it was a fun experience playing it. Yeah, man, albeit a few confusing things like the race start. I obviously wasn't playing as a racer, so I didn't get to experience that myself. But the idea of, like, I don't know, stopping at one of these checkpoints and then starting a race and then figuring out who actually else in the world is sort of in the race with you. But I'm sure when the game releases that'll be clarified slightly more. And also, there was one more kind of nifty feature, which is the fact that basically when you're playing in this game, single player and multiplayer are kind of like all in the same world. You basically you start up your career mode, so you can play career mode as either a racer or a cop, and you don't have to. You can do one like for an hour. You can switch to the other one. You can go back and forth. You don't have to play one all the way through in order to get to the next. So anyway, you start up your world as whatever career mode you're choosing, and basically it's single player and multiplayer all in one. If you want your friends to join, you don't have to quit out and go to a different menu. They can just jump right into the world with you. So just a little bit of easy access if you want to invite your friends in. So yeah, man. I guess that's about it for Need for Speed Rivals. Hopefully you've enjoyed. I realize this is actually, I think, the first racing game footage that I've posted. But again, I think it's always cool to be able to show unreleased gameplay footage. So yeah, you know, hopefully you've enjoyed. If you have, a rating would be much appreciated. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Il reste encore un truc à faire sur cette vidéo. Si tu as 3 secondes, tu peux cliquer ici et t'abonner à ma page YouTube pour voir toutes nos nouvelles vidéos. Et s'il te reste encore une seconde, clique sur le pouce vert en bas de la vidéo si tu as aimé. Si tu n'as pas aimé, clique sur le pouce vert en bas de la vidéo. Merci. Oui, c'est bon.